Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Morlizan, and I am going to be giving y'all a 2v2 recording of me playing as the Malta and my partner playing as Dutch here. And we are playing against Routeline playing as Lakota and Ezzat playing as the USA. Now, if you know anything, most of y'all watching this, if not all of you watching this, know who Routeline is. And Routeline is really good. He's a really good player. He's mostly known for his Mexico. I think Widgie, if you're on Widgie's Discord, if you follow Widgie, Widgie gave a lot of build orders that Routeline gave him. And even though he wasn't the creator of the Mexico build orders, he does utilize them very well. So he's a very good player in my book. Mm. Um, but yeah, I'm going to give you all some multiplayer here. I want to highlight some of the things that I did, some of the things I could have definitely done better, some things that I do better now. This is one of my first games as Malta. Not necessarily my first game, but one of my first games as Malta in team games. And there's still just a lot of growing pains on this. I don't do the archaic stuff. You'll see my decks here in a minute, but I don't do like a lot of the archaic stuff. I believe like if a civilization has unique units, the unique units should be used. But we all know they're not very good right now because they're very pop heavy. But let's get into it. So here I am playing as the Malta. And man, I'm honestly scared to show you all this stuff because I don't I don't do very well this early. My villagers go idle for too long. My TC goes idle, but I'm still trying to like it's growing pains. I'm still like, oh wait, what am I supposed to do as Malta? What am I supposed to do as Malta? So hopefully by watching this video, it'll help you see some of the strengths of Malta and some of the weaknesses. Now Malta has a lot of weaknesses. My main is China actually, and I'm a pretty solid 1400-ish to 1500 ELO player with China. But Malta, I am currently sitting at like 1100 ELO with Malta. Because they're just super slow. They're rushed down super easy. But I think team games, I do definitely think team games right now, Malta does have a place. It's about the late game with Malta. The time is on your side when it comes to Malta because one of the Malta's unique bonuses. Let's see if we can see that anywhere. I wonder if we can see that. So I don't know how to look it up, but one of Malta's unique civilization bonuses is all of their Maltanese units get 2% extra health for every shipment you send. So your units start to get very tanky towards the end, and we're going to see this actually towards the end of this game. Um, and this was a very well played game right here by both me and my partner. Routeline, of course, did a phenomenal job. Ezzat did a phenomenal job. I can't speak more highly of these two players. I've ran into Routeline a few times, and he's scary. He's scary in 1v1s. He's scary in team games. So this was a really good game that we played here. But definitely I could have played better. So first thing I'm gonna do is I chopped my wood. So I gathered my crates, which gives me 300 wood total. With those crates, instead of building a market and a house, I built a house and a teepee. Because in my mind, I need to capitalize on that health increase shipments. Not only that, because Malta's so slow, they need their shipments. We can see here I've chosen my deck. So this is my team's deck. It's a pretty greedy deck because in my mind I think Malta really needs it. They need that eco boost because they don't get four villagers in the beginning. So in H2 they don't get like a villager card. They get their 3 villagers in H1, and you can see that I'm definitely sending that. So I'm sending my villagers H1. But I get my TP up because look at this. I'm already about to get my next shipment. So I really want to capitalize on those shipments. We do run into the Lakota player here. And he knows that he can't beat both of us. So he's going to back off. One thing about the Malta Explorer, if we check here, the Malta Explorer, he has more health than a regular European Explorer. So regular European Explorer has about 400 health. The Malta Explorer starts with 500, but as you just saw, his health increased by 10% because my settlers just came in, right? So the Explorer also benefits from that civilization bonus. So you can really capitalize on that by almost like the Chinese monk and the Aztec explorer. You can pretty much just go around and gobble up treasures. Really easy with the Malta Explorer. It's super easy to do. Um, but yeah, so I built my TP in the beginning. I built my house. That way I don't get house uh, pop capped. And now I'm pretty much just macroing for the age up. I do try to herd in right here, but then I forget my villager, and as you can see, I'm not doing a very good job. Like I said, there's a lot right here that I could have done so much better. Like, here we go. Look at this idle time. Alright, I moved them faster than I thought I was, but anyways, I got the 800 food for the age up. Now, I'm aging up with the quartermaster. For those of you who don't know, the quartermaster gives you 400 wood. So, right now, I'm going to chop for German tongue. They recently reduced the price of German tongue from 500 wood to 450 wood. I don't think that decrease was enough. I think a solid 400 wood for German tongue would make it way more viable. But what it does is the German tongue is going to give me a commandery wagon. And commanderies are your stable and outpost put into one for the Maltese. You can build your cav from them, but they also shoot like an outpost. But what the German tongue does is it gives me a commandery wagon, gives me 2 settler wagons, and then it allows me to build 4 more settler wagons from the commandery. And as you can see there in the very bottom, Maltese units hit points plus 2%. So you're starting to see how it just starts to stack up. So I'm chopping the wood for that. I've got to get to 450. So here I am. Let's see how close I get to this. I should be waiting on this, right? Let's see if I get this pretty much right at. I'm over there just spam clicking. I know I am. And as you can see, I really like to, as far as treasure priority goes, because I do get German tongue, and because your sentinels and hospitallers are 2-pop, population is so important. Here I am. I'm already building another house. So I like to go for XP treasures and wood treasures above everything else. And that's because I convert wood either into the German tongue early game or into houses. That way I don't get pop capped, because you're gonna be dishing out a lot of houses. Oh, we missed it, but the USA Explorer was trying to get a treasure here. Got a little too overconfident, and I think I ended up taking him out with my TC. So here we go. Here's the 2 settler wagons, and here's the commandery wagon. I'm going to go ahead and build this a little bit forward, defensively forward, because, again, it acts like an outpost. This kind of covers my hunt right here, and it covers my mines. That way there's no real early raids he's going to be doing. I do have villagers, so now what I'm doing is I have villagers on coin. I'm gathering up to 400 coin, and then I'm going to switch them to food, because I'm going for an FF. The Malta really just shines in FF. One thing I do wrong here is I do get the wing and a court constructions, which increases my gather work rate by 10%, and near ranged buildings plus 20%. But what I think I should have done is I should have gone for hospitality, which not only is my next age up super fast, but it also continues to reduce my upgrades for my hospitals. So like my sentinel upgrades and my hospitaller upgrades. But I went for the Rigna Court, so I went more for the boom rather than the fast age up. I think that might have been a mistake, but the eco's nice too, because again, Malta just doesn't get settlers and age 2 like other European civs do. Like if we look at my allies, he doesn't get it neither, but he does get the bank. That's pretty much equivalent, if not better. But if we look at Ezzat, you see he does have the Irish immigrants that he can send along with the Quarter Boys. So he's got 2 villager cards right there. And then if we look at...
What's up, man? How are you doing?
Oh, hey, dude, I'm recording, actually. I forgot that was in Discord. But if we look at... No, stop talking. Stop talking.
I'm going to be back in like half an hour.
Sorry, guys, I forgot I was in Discord, so shit came online. But, and again, if we can look at Routeline, look, 4 villagers, 5 villagers. So, Malta doesn't get that. Malta doesn't really get anything to substitute the villager loss, except for the Wigna Court constructions. And it actually is a really good mechanic, because as long as they're near ranged buildings, they get a 20% increase. So what you can do is you can kind of like use outposts to continue that that increase around their resources. And here I am. I'm also building settler wagons. Now, the thing is about settler wagons is they're more like a long-term investment because they cost 100 wood and 100 food. The German tongue already cost 450 wood. So then you think about it, I had to get 4 more settler wagons. It's 850 wood investment to get these settler wagons. But in the long run, they pay for themselves, right? So in team games, I think this is okay. Which I still use in my 1v1s because my game plan is late game anyways. So here we find Routeline is going to be trying to do a raid. I am herding in. I could have done a better job herding. I'm not too worried about the hunts up here because I think what I end up doing is I do plop another TC over here. But I do have my commandery, and it's got pretty good coverage. Again, I could have done a better job here. He does see my Maltese explorer here, so I start to pull him back to try to keep him from dying. There is. I'm finally sitting hospitality. I don't know if that was worth it at this point. I should have probably saved it for industrial, but I still get the cheaper upgrades for my sentinels, right? So here's my TC wagon. I go ahead and plop some villagers into here. And there it goes. I put my TC down right there, and I've got 5 sentinels. Thank you. Now sentinels act like your musketeers. Sentinels are musketeers for the Maltese units. I get worried right here, thinking that he might actually be able to get my town center. But luckily, my partner, because this is a team game, he does come in with skirms and pikes. And I realized my town center is building faster than he's actually sieging. Luckily for me, these aren't axemen, these are bow riders, so they don't do a whole lot of siege. I go ahead and snipe the USA Explorer, because the last thing I want is him to get some units over here and plop down that flag. Now, if we look at my Sentinels, something unique about the Sentinels is they actually get bonuses for being around my buildings, and especially my fortification buildings. So you see that little aura around them? Here we are, we're just trying to snipe that Lakota war chief, but he's so quick. Okay, so Ezzat starts, this is where it gets hairy. Ezzat pushes on us with regulars and Gatlings. Now, right now, me and my partner have nothing that we can do against Gatlings. So we kind of just pull back. I do make some really bad plays here in a little bit. I do move my settlers because I don't want him using his Gatlings. I didn't want him to push up his Gatlings and snipe all my settler wagons. That would have just been horrible. But luckily, I've got a TC near this mine, so I just move them up to the back mine, and they can keep up. But what we're doing right now is we're just kind of picking off these side units, you know, killing whatever we can when we can. Bronchi goes to Fortress H, so now we're both age 3. We're all of us are age 3. Now, here's where I should have backed off. These are rifle riders, and right now my sentinels just cannot match against the rifle riders, so I did a horrible job in just throwing my units away, and I do this a couple times, because I see this mass they have. Like, I'm looking at what they have. They have rifle riders, they have bow riders, and they have Gatlings and regulars, or maybe I could have sworn he had rifle riders. Maybe he doesn't have the rifle riders yet, but bow riders also do a great job taking out early musks. But I kind of just like, dude, I don't think we're gonna win this. There's no way we're gonna win this. I was like, so I throw away these units because in my mind, I'm just trying to kill those Gatlings, but they just mowed down my units so quickly, and it was horrible. Like, I did not make good use of this. I should have just shot rather than put him in a melee. I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna take away his ranged resist, but they get like 2 hits. I send my Minutemen in. Again, I'm just trying to do everything I can to take out these Gatlings. Because I know if I can take these Gatlings out, his skirms will clean up everything he has right here. So here comes the Rifle Riders. Now we're in trouble. So what I do is I send my fixed gun, which the fixed gun is a giant cannon that's stationary. I should have moved my villagers right here. Once he notices my villagers right here, he wipes out my 3 villagers. I could have moved them to the back. Again, I've got a TC right here. But I'm worried. I'm stressed. I'm playing against 2 very good players, and I'm like, I don't think we're going to win this. I'm trying to hold out. I'm trying to get these Gatling guns down. But, again, I think all of this was a mistake. I think just throwing away my units like that was a mistake. But I finally get my fixed gun in, and look at the work that this fixed gun does. It is absolutely amazing. The problem with the fixed gun is you can't aim it. Like, you cannot select its target to aim at. But when it works, man, it works so well. Like, watch this. It's gonna get range on this and wipe out, I think, 3. There it goes. Look at 3 rifle riders just gone. It is quite the investment, but man, does it not just pay itself off. So they do push Bronchi here. I think this is a mistake. I think they should have actually have pushed me. One of the weaknesses the fixed gun has is it's got a minimum range. And I want to say it's like right here. If you can get within the radius of like this range to here, it can't shoot at you. Had they just gotten their units under my fixed gun, they could have continued to harass me. I think what it is though is they just don't want the Dutch player to get the momentum that we all know Dutch players can get. So they do go for Bronchi. They're trying to harass him, try to take out as much as he can. But again, I think they should just kept. I think they. Oh, sorry. I think they should have just kept going for me because I was pretty much out of this game. Had they just kept the pressure up on me, I think that would have been GG. They go for Bronchi. They're harassing his banks, but he's doing a great job, just kind of like picking units off. I see he's now going for that Gatling gun. Last Gatling gun is down. This is big. He's sending one more because, as we know, what the USA player is doing is the USA player is sending this card. Where is it at? Oh, here it is. Rolling artillery. Ships few Gatling guns with each use, but resets after the third use. So the first time you send it, you get your 3 Gatlings. The second time you send them, you get 2 Gatlings. And third time you send them, you get 1 Gatling. And then it resets itself. So he's now sent in his last 1 Gatling. So the next shipment will be 3 again. But I would much rather have this 1 Gatling than a whole nother 3. So I do go ahead and I send in some Sentinels because I don't want to leave my partner here being just completely harassed. So I was like, maybe I can help do something. He does send in the Mercs, Black Riders. These Black Riders come in such clutch at this moment. Comes in such clutch. I start sending in my Fort Wagon. I'm still here. I'm trying to support. At this point, my Sentinels are starting to get tanky. Like, you can see they're not even near my buildings. They don't have their aura buffs, and they're already sitting at 216. I have upgraded them to Veteran Sentinels, so they're a bit tougher. But yeah, Bronchi definitely carried the early game. I go ahead and I put up a fort. I put up a defensive fort right here. I have more Sentinels. Now I'm starting to get that stack. And you can see that. Do you see the difference? So these didn't have the aura there for a little bit, and they were at 216, and with the aura, they're at 231. So defensively, Sentinels are amazing. It's hard to mass them. Sentinels are a 2-pop right now. I disagree with that pop. I think the early game Sentinel should be 1-pop, but I do think there's a point in the game where they need to be 2-pop. Like, especially if I get into Industrial and send this. I'm going to talk about this later. But when you send this, I think that should make them 2-pop. Like, this is such a good card. They should definitely be 2-pop if you send that. But this early in the game, they really need to be 1-pop. Okay, so here we did it. We survived the freaking onslaught. They put everything they had into that onslaught. I mean, they're still massing. He finally got that card reset, so he's got his 3 Gatlings. But one important thing to notice is he's using an entire card to get these Gatlings. So that card lost its value or its appreciation the more times he used it until it reset itself. So right now, he got full maximum effect out of that card. But earlier, he wasn't getting it, and that was a card pretty much wasted. So one thing that I do with the Malta, one thing that the fixed gun can do, and I don't see enough people utilize this ability, is you can sell your fixed gun. The fixed gun has an ability where you can sell it for I think like 90% of its resources back. 90% or like 95% of its resources back. It's almost 100% of the resources that it cost. And again, I sent a shipment for my fixed gun, so I technically got it for free, but it did cost me a card. But what I'm doing is I sold it, and then had the resources to rebuild it again. So now I built it more forward. And that's my playstyle with Malta. Once I get my defenses up, I just kind of slowly creep up. So the next card that I just sent that you saw me send was where is it? Squires. So I sent in Squires. Look at this. This was buffed recently from 70% to 80%. Military training and research work rate, 80%. If it's coming from my fort, 260%. So I do have a fort here. I don't really utilize it like I should have. But if you're training from your fort, this right here, guys, is a must. I consider this a Malta must card. It makes your hospitals and your forts train super fast, and Malta units train slow, so you need it. So yeah, here we are. I moved my fixed gun up. I took out his TP that he had over here. Both of their explorers are right here. So we're looking pretty good. I've got my TC near my hunts. You can look at this, 1.18 on food. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. And let's see, where are my wagons? Oh, I probably have them back down here. Look at this, 1.68 on coin. I have 6 of them there, so that's pretty much like having 12 beefed up villagers on this coin mine, right? Because seller wagon gathers at the same rate of 2 villagers. So here we are. We're just trying to re-macro because they did significant damage. You know, we feel like we're behind. And here I do. Here's that ability right here. Deconstruct this fixed gun to refund its resource cost. So I don't think it's 100% because I think it costs 600 coin to build one, and I think I only saw me get 560 coin back. But it's enough to where you know if unless you're losing your fixed gun in battle and it hasn't paid for itself, then this is perfectly fine. So I go ahead and I sold it because my plan is I'm going to put it right here. Luckily, this map has these choke points, and Malta does so well on the choke points because it's so easy to defend, and Malta's really good at defending. One thing you need to take note of, though, is Malta is best in mass. Malta is not good at fighting splits. So if Routeline or Ezzat had utilized these paths efficiently, they could have done significant damage to me. But Malta's still relatively new, and again, this was a little bit earlier in the DLC, so people were still even confused about the capabilities of the units. So Malta does, because I rely on my fixed gun, I rely on my forts. These are all stationary things. Had he split me and kept pushing and harassing, this would have been GG for them easy. But luckily for us, they kept fighting us head on, thinking they were going to take us, highly underestimating Malta. But as a multiplayer, if you're playing Malta, I highly suggest walling these off. At the very least, walling these off. Because if you don't and they harass you, it's going to be super hard. Okay, so the next card that I'm sending, and guys, this is another highly underrated card. The Redden Towers. It ships 2 outpost wagons, enables outposts to train Maltese infantry. This is super, super good. So not only can I train my sentinels for my outpost wagons, I can train my hospitalers. I can also train fire throwers. Fire throwers is the Malta Grenadier unit. It's the equivalent of a Malta Grenadier unit, or of a European Grenadier unit. And typically you need an artillery foundry to actually make Grenadier units. However, here, with that card, I can train them from my outpost. So if there was ever a time you were facing heavy infantry and my teammates skirms couldn't deal with them, I could easily start pumping out fire throwers from my outpost. And not only that, but you're going to utilize outpost a lot anyways, or you should be utilizing outpost anyways, because it gives you the bonuses. Outposts are considered ranged buildings, right? So I get the 20% bonus. And actually, here you go. Here's a perfect example. So this hunt and this mine is a little far from my TC, so my villagers aren't getting the bonuses if they started going after this. So I'm going to drop an outpost right here and continue getting that 20% resource bonus on this hunt and that mine. Here I am. I'm finally getting veteran veteran hospitalers. Don't judge me, but watch this increase, and that is cheaper because I have hospitality. And watch this increase. Oh, sorry, it did go through. So yeah, 31. I mean, these guys really start getting beefy. I've got my outpost up now. I've got my fixed gun up. We have great map control right here. I did have my teammate go for coals. I'm now queuing up in the industrial age, and I'm going up with the Pope. Now uh, there's two politicians you can choose when going to industrial age. There's one that gives you a fort, and there's one that gives you EXP. If you're being heavily pressured and you need the defense, go for the fort. I go for the Pope because it gives me a ton of EXP, and again, Malta is just all about those shipments. They get crazy. Like, look at this, 238 attack. Let's see if we compare that to a regular. So he hasn't upgraded them, but look at that difference. Okay, yeah, I forgot that I actually this was the game where I needed to use the restroom, so I asked Routeline and Ezzat if we could pause so I can use the restroom, and there we go. I'm back. But yeah, I had to use the restroom so bad, guys. I'm over here. You know, they've got me they've got my stomach fluttering because I know the two people I'm going against, and I'm super nervous. I was like, I don't even know what they're doing. In hindsight, we could have scouted more. For scouting sake, guys, don't waste your explorer this late in the game because your explorer is actually useful. You could send like two skirms, right? Like these skirms don't cost that much. You could send like two skirms just to peek in there and see what's going on. We should have done that. But we're also kind of feeling a little bit safe. We've got Colves to deal with any artillery he may have. Here I'm going up. I am aged up with the Pope. So I get 1,000 EXP out of that. I'm going to end up grabbing that. I'm sending my settler wagons probably over to this coin mine right here, and again it's next to that outpost. So as you can see the green aura. So I am getting that gather bonus. And here it is, guys. I really want to talk about this card. This is another card I do not see very often, or maybe it's being utilized more now. Because I know people on the ladder who ran into me playing this card have been like, "Oh wow, great job!" In fact, after this game, Routeline, Ezzat, and us, we had this entire conversation about how great my Sentinels had got. But this card right here is so underutilized. Flintlock Rockets enables mortar attack action, enables siege attack action, adds a 2 line of sight, hit points plus 35%, all action damage plus 35%, but their cost increase. All of their costs increase by 35%, but it's not an exact trade because if you look, hit points plus 35%. So it's 35% across the board, right? But it's not because remember the Malta civilization bonus, I get 2% hit points for every shipment. So this is actually a 37% hit point increase by sending this card. And you're gonna see that. And I'm gonna show you how beefy these Sentinels get. So not only now is it going to increase all their damage, all their health, it's going to give them a rocket attack. It's going to give them a better siege attack. It's going to increase their health by 37%. And look at that. Look at that. I'm using my towers to recruit my sentinels right here on the front line. I still have my hospital keybound though. That way I can upgrade them because you still got to upgrade them from the hospital. So I still have my one hospital back there just for the sake of upgrading them. But watch this. Okay, here it comes. It's coming in. Watch this increase. 31 attack, 238 health. 40 attack, 301 health. That is such a big increase. So this is when Malta gets ridiculous. Like these he doesn't realize he's still on everyone, so he's talking to Routeline, I guess. But this is when Malta gets ridiculous. Like my macro is looking beautiful. A lot of people get onto me because they're like, "Dude, you're not." So let me talk about this real quick. A lot of people get onto me because they're like, "Dude, you're not villager capped." Malta can't really do that. I should have more than 36, but Malta can't really do that because my units are 2 pop each. Hospitalers are 2 pop each. Sentinels are 2 pop each. My fixed gun, I think, is 6 pop. They're a very heavy pop military civilization. So you need to have less villagers to make up the military mass, but it kind of makes up for itself because as long as you're dropping these outposts, you do get the 20% gather rate bonus, and then you have your settler wagons. You have 6 settler wagons, so that's 12 beefed up villagers, right? So it's not that bad. So if you think about 36, that's actually that's like 47. I have like 47 villagers. Ezzat's got 58. Bronchi's got 33, but of course he's Dutch and Banks. Routeline probably has 99. Yeah, I knew it. Like, let's see. He's probably got the. He's probably got. Yeah, I knew it. I mean, this is Routeline. This is Lakota. Lakota actually has a really good late game. For those of y'all don't know, but I'm not as bad as it may seem. Because again, my military's pop heavy, so I need that free space. Again, I could have done better, and now I do better. I typically like to get around 50 villagers in my more recent games, but I still don't want to. Okay, so they do a big push right here. We do just barely see this, so Bronchi caught it. My TP's catching the rest of it. Unfortunately, we're not fighting on any of my fortifications, and I was super, super sad about that. That was not a good time for me. I was like, oh god, really? Not fighting on my fortifications. So watch this. 301. They're gonna start going down. Yeah, see, I'm getting away. I do try to construct a depot here. That depot is gonna come in play. So for those of you who don't know though, depots increase the fire rate of your gunpowder units. So um, my range attack speed, which is a 3, near a depot I think drops to like 2.7. So they shoot faster, slightly faster. But you can also blow up your depot, which does cause friendly fire. But if timed right, and if your opponent isn't paying attention, you can blow it up to do significant damage to your opponent. And there goes that rocket launcher attack right there. Just absolutely beautiful. Now here I am. I take on his Tukalas and his Rifle Riders. Again, a horrible matchup for me. I don't know why I decided I should have taken that matchup. Definitely not well played by me. But I'm not doing horrible. But I'm not doing great. Right? Like, these are rifle riders, so they split us so good. They got his Takala soldiers on his Coves. I mean, they've just really got us split. Yet again, I think they've got us because they didn't even fight us on our freaking home turf here. Here those rockets go. And I mean, look at it. We have nothing right here. Okay, so earlier a card just came in. This is another Malta must. I consider this another Malta must. These two cards, in my mind, are Malta must. So what this does is it also increases all my Maltanese infantry attack and hit points increase by 15%. So you add my 35% all action damage with the flintlock rockets to this. That's 50% all action damage increased, and then 37% plus 15% for HP. So now that this is in, again, I'm not getting any of my buffs, but look at this: 357 health on my Sentinels. That's so good. Right now, I'm just trying to kite him a bit. Now, he does send in his regulars to fight me, and I think this is a mistake. Like, look at these veteran regulars to my guard sentinels. Like, not even close, but he does send in his sentinel, or he sent in his Gatling guns. He says, "Wow." He's like, he can't believe he's not like these regulars just aren't doing anything to my sentinels. So he does finally send in the rest of his stuff here. So he's coming after me, but I'm super tanky. I'm super tanky. So I'm kind of just holding it out, killing them. I got my buffs. And they're at 382 health now. So again, I'm just trying to draw them away from my partner. I just need them drawn away from my partner. I'm also trying to draw them more into my gun. As you can see, I'm using my outpost to recruit my sentinels. My fixed gun is killing his reinforcements. At this point, my fixed gun has paid for itself, I would definitely say. Sharpshooters coming in, though. Rifle riders and sharpshooters is going to be really hard for me to deal with. I think this was a mistake on his part. Again, sentinels are musk units, so I did clean up his hand cap. I go ahead and I back my sentinels off. I do think I back these guys off to right here. And again, this is all about to just get them away from my partner, because I need my partner to come back. No, I don't back him up. I am sending in my fort wagon. I'm going to get another 2%. You can see, though, that our scores are relatively even. Malta does underscore quite a bit, so this isn't too bad. And as you can see, I've been spamming the houses because again, everything's so like 5 sentinels is 10 pop. You need an entire house for 5 sentinels. You got to build an entire house for every 5 sentinels. So they're focusing on my partner again. They are fighting under the fort. The fort's kind of helping out right here. So if Bronchi would put his units right here and fight him right here, he would have more support from the fort. But that's okay. So what we did here is, even though they won this battle, all I try to do is I just try to pull him away from my partner's base, and I successfully did that. I successfully pulled him away from the base. He did clean up my forward here, except for this one outpost, and now he's pushing into my partner's base. But my partner's pretty much was able to remass. He went for Reuters. I don't know if that was the right call, but he did go for Reuters. And here I am. I'm now trying to remass. Like I have 11 sentinels, but they're 2 pop each. That's 22 That's 22 pop in military, and they're super beefy. Again, 386 to 180. I mean, that's pretty good. Get them under my fort here. All right, there he goes. He finally fights them under my fort. This is it. This is actually big right here. I do blow this up. You're gonna see this. So he's not paying attention. He's got his units in attack move. So he doesn't realize his units are sieging that. I see it. I start activating its blow up, and watch this. And if we look at these units' health now, they are one shots. So that's where depots really come in handy. You can use them very defensively. Just don't be around them yourself. I would never recommend putting a depot like on your forward base, but kind of off to the side is perfectly fine. I've got idle because I'm focused on the battle. Hopefully I get them moving here soon. There he goes. So I see that I'm pretty much out of coin except for this coin, but because we're doing a lot of fighting here, I just go ahead and I drop down in a state. I've been having workers gather wood for the simple fact that I can drop down in a state. And of course houses. So I've got all these people going for wood because I'll probably use them to drop a mill here soon or another estate. I did send my factory earlier, so I've got my factory up somewhere. There it is. So I now remake my forward base a little bit more like over here. But this is pretty much how you're gonna play Malta because time is on your side. If you don't have the time to play late game, I don't recommend playing Malta. I do not recommend playing Malta if you do not have the time commitment for a late game. Malta, especially right now in its current stage, is very late game oriented. I don't believe in the Expo Pike meta. I don't think that's a true meta. To make Expos and Pikes decently good, you have to invest 4 cards into them. I don't think anything that needs 4 cards invested into them just to make them decently good is worth it. My Sentinels, even without their cards, do eventually become really good, and with their cards, they're amazing. Again, they are 2 pop though, but you should play Malta, in my opinion, to the late game. That doesn't mean you can't mix Expo and Pike in the early game, just to either harass or to fight off a harassment, so that you can get into the late game. That's fine. I don't do it, and I know I would do much better if I did do it. I refuse to play Expo and Pike. It takes away the fun of, in my opinion, it takes away the fun of having unique units. What's the point of having unique units if you're not going to use them? So I do try to get an outpost right here. So what I'm doing is I'm now doing my strategy of just trying to do my best to creep. Because this aura, it has a range. You see that? Oh, if you look here, these sentinels are not getting the aura. So if we do a comparison real quick, look at this comparison. Oh, Well, now they all have their range, but we can. You've probably seen it throughout the game, but they do spot this. They spot my outpost, so I'm like, okay, screw it, I'll go back. I think I go back. Am I still trying to build it? No, come on. Okay, there you go. So he brings in all his calves. He brings in his warriors. I should have canceled this to get the resources back. I don't though, and I'm going to lose my explorer. I think he quickly pop shots him right here. No, I pull him away. Okay. Oh, okay. So now that we're going into the late game, this is important. You need to know when is the time to go into the late game. When you go into the late game, when you start preparing, like I have a mine here, I have a mine here, I have a mine here. I get that you gather from natural resources faster, guys, but with all this fighting going on, it's not worth the idle time, right? Because you still have to travel to these places, and if you have to pull your villagers off because the fight comes into this area, then it wasn't worth it, right? So just go ahead and drop down your estates, start getting your upgrades, drop down your mills, and what the card I'm sending in now is Sicilian Supply. So if we read Sicilian Supply, villager gather work rate for mills plus 25%. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to invest in the late game. I'm just going to go ahead and put my villagers on mills and estates because I am completely out of safe resources. As you can see, I've got my people gathering berries here, but I think even now, almost the same. Once that comes in, I think they go higher. So once these two upgrades come in, but we're gonna watch this fight right here, and watch this cleanup. He's so shocked at the capabilities of my guard units. So like, let's see how many I start to lose. I'm at 23, 22, 21, 20, but look at how much they're losing. 19, back up to 25, 24, 21. I guarantee you they lost more out of that than we did. And in fact, look at Routeline score. So yeah, they lost a lot out of that. I'm going to go ahead and just plop that fixed gun up. He has heavy cannons. What are the...
I'm ready. What is your command? Yes, what is your command?
Oh, they're not... They're not deployed, so it won't show me the range. Oh, okay, so going back to this. 0.94. So now with those two upgrades, my villagers are going to gather faster on a mill than even berries. And they are getting that resource bonus from Wignacourt. So Wignacourt's really just to clean out your natural resources, and it gives you that nice early boost. But at the end of the day, you're going to need to switch, right? Because we're playing the late game. That's just how it is. Let's see here. Compared to 1.01, 0.94. So it's not even that far off. Hunted animals to my windmill, and I think I still have a couple more upgrades I can get here. Okay, so we are poking here. Fixed gun is up. I'm now finally getting my heavy fixed gun. So what heavy fixed gun is, it's going to not only increase its damage, it's going to increase its range. Watch its range. 34 to 40 and 51. Oh, it does not increase the damage, but it does increase the range and health. He sends Tishinki into my sentinels. I just think that was a horrible mistake. I do clean that up. He's gonna get my fixed gun here, unfortunately. I don't know why Bronchi didn't put him into melee to go after those culverns, but whatever. I think it paid for itself because it did take out quite a bit of units. Ezzat says wow like 100 times, guys. He's so impressed by these sentinels. He just cannot believe it. I finally got the upgrade, I think. Did I? Yes, I did. No, I did not. Okay, so there's going to be an upgrade later that I grab, and I'm going to show it. I'm going to try to watch for it. I'm going to go ahead. I'm using my sentinels now to build my outpost. Your sentinels can build outposts just to get the buff over here. So I'm trying to get this outpost up as soon as I can. Get these TPs out of here because TPs increase the health of Lakota players. I got the kill. I don't know why he came back into this right here. Alright, so I'm about to get that buff. There it goes. I've got my buff back. I'm at 396. So I've got my buffs. I'm like, okay, let's push a bit. But I want to fight on my tower. I don't want to lose my buffs because that's what it's all about. And actually, at this point, he could go in and clean out these cloves. But again, I want to point out something real quick. They could have harassed this entire time from these choke points, guys. If you're playing against Malta, harass them. Early pressure and in the late game, just harass them. Because they're so heavily reliant on stationary things to be super effective. And as a multiplayer, you wanna wall these bad boys. You definitely wanna wall them. I go ahead and use their rocket mortar siege damage to take out this artillery founder. So now while he's chasing down like his rifle riders and sharpshooters, I'm just trying to clean up some infrastructure. I'm trying to take away some infrastructure from him. Okay, so here's another Malta must. This is a Malta must, the Papal Bull, and I'm going to show you why. The techs that it gives you are so good for Malta. Because one of the problems with Malta is they lose their buffs away from your own building, but when that comes in, you're going to get a tech that's going to give me my buffs around my enemy's buildings. And I'm going to show you that tech. I just want to show you real quick, my villagers are now gathering at the rate that they were gathering from hunted animals. I do think we overextended slightly right here, so I do finally tell him, I just want to clean up some villagers, but I do finally tell him, like, hey, we're overextending, let's go ahead and just back off a little bit. Because his sharpshooters are good, like, late game USA sharpshooters are actually so good. So I don't want to completely clean. Oh, and that was it. Crusader Knights improvement. So you look at this now. So the Crusader Knights improvement is the technology you get from your church with the church card. And what it does is around my enemy's buildings, not houses, but like these kind of buildings, I now get my buffs around his building. So these same buffs that I get around my guard tower, I'll get around his buildings as well. So it just makes it way easier for Malta to push in. Because right now their pushing capabilities are very lacking, so you really need that card. And you can see I've got a lot of sentinels queued, so I'm getting ready for this last big push. That's what I'm getting ready for. He's still going tons of sentinels, but that's okay because we're gonna be able to take them. I'm gonna get my, I think, is this my last mill upgrade? But if we look at this when that comes in. And there it is. So your late game economy, guys, is really good. Wignacourt makes Malta's mid game, I would say early mid to mid game economy really, really good, especially with their settler wagons. But then also their late game economy is actually really good. It's the very early part that Malta lacks, and unfortunately, because of how Age of Empires 3 works, every civ gets momentum. So in order for you to catch up to your opponent's momentum, you have to go in the late game. In the late game is the only time you start to pass your opponent. But the early game is so bad for Malta that your opponent already has this momentum that it's so hard to come back from. or for you to catch up. So here I am. I've got my guard tower down right here, and now I've got my fixed gun. And watch this. I'm going to clean some units. Well, one unit. I'm going to clean one unit, but I do think it shoots into either rifle riders or the sharpshooters. Here it goes. Watch this. Totally worth it. So they're going to fight under my fixed gun. They know to fight under my fixed gun. But here's another reason why I like the fixed gun. A lot of people complain about the minimum range, but one thing that you need to realize is this fixed gun, if they don't focus the fixed gun down, it's going to clean up any reinforcements they try to send. So like say these sharpshooters coming in, right? They're going to try to send these sharpshooters in. It's going to clean them up. So they're not going to get reinforced. But if they do focus the fixed gun, you start killing their units while they focus down. And watch this. That's what they do. They start trying to they focus my fixed gun, but we're just killing them as they're doing that. Like they're so set on focusing on that. And look at this. He's got to keep his sharpshooters back because he can't move them up because my fixed gun will kill him. So while he's doing this, we're just cleaning him up. And here comes the veteran hussars for the sharpshooters. But like it's over at this point. I have my buffs. I'm still pumping out guard sentinels. And look at these bad boys, guys. Almost 400 health. Now, here's another card that I personally like to have because it's just such a nice boost to your eco. This is Trip to Jerusalem. Returns 10 wood and 10 coin for each unit you have lost so far in this game, up to a maximum of 1,500 resources. So it's going to split those resources into 750 wood and 750 coin. And it gives me my 2% hit points. Why not take this card? You know? Because it can either help you recover from early aggression, or it can just give you that slight boost in the late game to just continue pumping out units. So I'm gonna send this in, and you're gonna see my resources bump up. But I do think they're right there. So my resources was gonna bump up. But anyways, that was the game versus Ezzat and Routeline, playing as Malta and Dutch. Just some things I want to go back over real quick. Again, as a Malta player, if you want to do some early expos and pikes, I do encourage it. I personally am stubborn and want to get right into what makes Malta good. But if you're going to face down some early aggression like that, or you know that they're going to have early aggression, make just a few pikes, a few bowmen, whatever it is that you need to stop the aggression, and then continue on to the Fortress Age. You definitely want to get in the Fortress Age. You are not going to win any games in Age 2. You might have seen someone do that, but that doesn't mean that's correct. That doesn't mean that is what Malta does. What Malta does best is Industrial Age. And even Fortress Age. Late Fortress Age is what Malta does good. Like, if you can the Sovereign Order of Malta and Squires, late Fortress Age is perfectly fine for Malta. But Industrial Age is where it's really at. You want to get that factory. You want to get that Sicilian supply. You definitely want to get flintlock rockets. And if you're using Hospitallers, you can get Dignitaries. And in one of my later Malta videos, I'll definitely be showing you that, because Dignitaries is super, super good. But yeah, another thing, choke points. This is a Malta wet dream right here. This map is actually a very good map for Malta, because there's choke points that I can capitalize my fortifications on. But you've got to remember, you rely on your outpost and you rely on your fixed guns. They are stationary. So one thing you need to do is, wherever you're setting up your stand at, you need to wall off the other choke points. If you don't, and because of just naturally from gathering resources there, I do happen to have like outposts here, you know. I do have a line of outposts here, so that worked out for me. But you need to make a conscious effort to remember you need to put walls on these choke points. And then wherever you're, like right in front of their base, that's where you want all your stuff, where you're going to make your push. But you want to make sure he's not harassing you, so you need to put walls here. Because I've done team games where me and my partner were doing this exact thing, and we were absolutely destroying them. And you know what they did? They made an artillery foundry, like not on this map, but like for an example, they made an artillery foundry right here and just sent P-tards into our base and cleaned up our TC, cleaned up the factory, and beat us because they P-tarded our entire base. So as a multiplayer, you are the defender, and that's the best way to look at it. You are the defender of your team. You need to have these outposts up. If there's water, and this is something I do now too. Again, I was still young playing Malta in this recording. But if there is water, you will take water. I have a water deck, which again I will probably be showing in another one of my videos. I have a water deck. You will be taking water, because you're actually really good on water, and you want to did not because from experience. Another thing that a guy did was, okay, using this map as an example. I had my forward base here. I had walls here with some outposts, so they couldn't harass me. But you know what I didn't do? I didn't take water, and you know what they did? They brought in transport ships, dropped off a ton of halberdiers, and just halberdiered our base down. So it is a growing pain, and I'm hoping I can kind of teach you some of these lessons now through this recording and my other recordings with Malta to help you. Because by no means am I perfect, but I want to show you my mistakes, and I want to show you what I could have done better. That way you know what you can do better. Um, but yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to be posting more of these kind of videos of not only me playing Malta, but I'm going to be posting build orders for other civs from my clan. You've probably seen us. Right now, our clan tag is Elol. Bronky's in it. Shake 2020's in it. You've probably seen him. Crispy's part of our group, but he's still in FPLC. That's fine. It is welcome to everybody, anyone who wants to join the clan, or even just our Discord. We're trying to start where Drongo left off. If you guys remember, if you guys remember, or don't know who Ozzy Drongo was a big part of the AoE 3 community until he left for AoE 4, and he was so good about having these build orders and these decks with different civilizations, and that's what my clan currently, or even just my group of friends who I play with, that's what we're trying to do with our Discord. We welcome you all to join. I will probably have a link in the video somewhere. I'm still relatively new to YouTube, so I'm only just now trying to figure out how do I do all this, what's the right tags, just to try to get you to find these videos. But I hope you enjoyed this, guys, and until next time, later.